cannot yield, we can't stand down, we won't back down. Smile at adversity, don't let them see you frown. Despite the unlevel playing field, as a female we cannot yield, we can't stand down, we won't back down. Smile at adversity, don't let them see you frown. It's time to level up, level up, level up, level up.
Jocelyn Joseph back with another episode of Teenz Talk. We are here today with a very special guest, Mr. Charles McIntosh. Yay.
Thank you very much.
And my mom is actually on here as well. As you
Hello.
can see. So we're just gonna ask you a few questions.
Okay.
If that's fine with
That's
you.
fine with me.
Okay, so initially, where are you from, Mr. Charles?
I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. South side. Yep, South side. Yeah. And that's why I went to high school. Started playing music there when I was in 4th grade, in grammar school. I wanted to play guitar, but they only had trumpets. So I had to take the trumpet. And pretty much as growing up, I think I was blessed to be born in the age of TV growing.
Okay.
So my mom used it as a babysitter.
Okay.
So I would sit there and I'd watch it. And of course, there was none else on there, but I watched I Love Lucy, all that stuff over and over, Dick Van Dyke Show. And I learned how to do what they call physical comedy.
Mm.
So from growing up, I just always wanted to be in entertainment.
So you did comedy too?
I tried. It didn't work too well. But I write comedy.
Oh, he writes comedy.
Yeah, I write comedy. That's what my latest project is, a comedy. We call it dramedy. Drama and some laughs on it too.
Okay. So what age did you start with entertainment?
What was that? I was 8 for trumpet, and then I started playing guitar, self-taught, around 10.
You said guitar. Where did that love for music come from?
It's that old school. My parents. My mom used to play Sam Cooke every Saturday while she played up. So I know every Sam Cooke song there is. Every album. Plus, he was in that neighborhood. They all went to high school, so she was a Sam Cooke lover. So that R&B mixed
You went to
with
school with Sam Cooke?
they went to the same high school. Yeah.
What?
That's awesome.
So they all was in that same neighborhood.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, and that's one of the good things about, like I said, I was fortunate to be born in Chicago because at that time was after the migration where all the black folks were leaving the South coming up. So we were
The Great Migration.
Exactly, trying to find our way, and I just kept rolling from there, learning guitar, sung in some groups, got in the Navy, taught myself how to play the flute. Then I came out, my wife said, "You need to get a husband."
I tried the flute
She
in high
did
school.
Yeah. Hey, that takes some
I
time.
said try.
Ooh, that takes some time.
Yes.
I don't do band in high school. It's too much. Who inspired you to do music?
I don't know if Stevie Wonder, people like that, but it was
the greats.
yeah, it's that feel music gives me. I tell everybody, I live off a vibe. How we interact, our chemistry, the groove. Even when I film, they be like, well, in the book you say, like, how does it flow? It's like that James Brown thing. Does it feel good? Do it look good? Then it's good. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times I look at the new people that's filming, and I watch this too because I can learn something from everybody. I don't sit back and go, well, I was doing this for 20 years, and when I did it, and I get a lot of folks like that that want to actually hinder the creative process. And I'm just one of those. I get to feel good.
So she introduced you at the beginning, but the reason we brought you on here is because you are in Atlanta doing some really, really big things. So let's start with what brought you to Atlanta.
A broken heart.
Oh no!
But that's mostly true. But I was in Virginia, and I was working corporate for the nuclear shipbuilding company. Building nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers. I did that for like 25, 26 years. And I was filming TV. I had my own cable access show. And my son was touring with the rap group while he was in high school, and I wanted to get back in it. So I started with him, managing him. He couldn't get him on nowhere. So I created a platform for him.
Okay.
He was on my show.
Create your own table.
Yeah, there you go. That's it. And I traveled around, and I not only did him, I incorporated him. He said I made him my slave, but I incorporated him in it, and we traveled around doing bass tournaments. It was like a variety show, and then I wrote skits. So after I did that, I had some my marriage went crazy, and then I said, well, you know what? Why don't I go somewhere where I can actually do something? I was thinking California. And then I came to a Falcons Bears game, met somebody I knew a long time ago, and they said move here, and I moved here.
Got you.
And the how you say it, the movement through Atlanta is not as fluent as it is in LA, New York, because it's new, it's fresh,
right,
so to speak. And so everything here is about circles. And I always say, you know, networking is the key to anything. That's why I live off of vibe. As long as I can feel that juice, I'm good.
So we know that you worked on some of Tyler Perry's projects and things like that. Do you want to share your experiences and how you ended up landing those roles or whatnot?
That's the thing about, I said I was fortunate, because when I got here, this was just beginning, and I had already experienced a market that had nothing, which is the Hampton Roads, Virginia, the Hampton Newport News area. It didn't have a market, and I was trying to create it.
Okay.
So everybody was like, man, you doing things. And I'm like, yeah, but I was only got, well, not the only guy, but there's a few of us, but I was doing it pretty good. So I was like, well, I could do something bigger scale. So when I went through the divorce, I was like, you know what? Atlanta would be a good fit. I could come down here and find my way. But it wasn't that easy. It took me 3 years to get a background job.
It's really tough.
Yeah, it is. It's not that easy.
It's competitive.
That's what they say, AGI. Like, you can be friends and all, you know, after the day is over, but when you're in work mode, you're competing against other people. Not saying, you know, we're not your friends or whatever, because, yeah, we can go, you know, get something to drink or something to eat after, but when we're in business, it's all about competing and seeing who's, you know, the best man or best woman win.
Oh, man. And, you know, and the truth of that is, if you're up on your game and you're actually focused on what you need to do, you can find a way. Because like I said, I didn't train at school to do any of this. I was doing home videos and on the VHS tapes, and I said, you know what? Can't I make my own movies? And then I had a VHS camera, so I was like, well, you know what? Let me see if I can make my own stuff. So I started splicing tapes, opening up the cases, cutting the tapes together. My son, he said, "How about you all this stuff?" I was at Radio Shack every weekend looking for something new to work with, and I made my own tapes. And then that's what got me into doing the weddings and the special events. And then I was like, my head got a little big. It's like, I could do more. I know I can. And that's when I started filming the show, put that together. But like I said, if you want it, you know, that's it, that drive. You gotta want to eat it. If it ain't like air, it ain't right.
So back to that table you're making, you have some projects that you're currently working on, and you've got your show that you're putting out. You want to tell our viewers a little bit about what you're doing?
Okay, so
without giving them all the juicy details.
Yeah. So this is what I have taken from my experience in Atlanta. If you want to work and you want to be in this industry, you have to put in the time and the effort. And I tell people constantly, I don't sleep much. I just don't sleep much, and I can't because my creative juices flow at night. At night, I'm thinking. I can't slow my mind down, so I learned to meditate now. But there's a thing about putting it together that I just had to do. So I watched Tyler Perry. I worked with him from the old studio. I started out with him doing audience noises. Ooh. So
background work. Put it in.
I had 2 months of that. But did that, then came in and started doing the shows, and I networked. Because even though I had my own show in Virginia, I had to figure out what was going on. So I started my company, which I like to feel like it encompasses a lot of folks. So I have a comedy I wrote when I first got here called Risky Southern Law. So like 4 lawyers, Southern lawyers, they go through these antics. My next one was a sex trafficking film called Safe Harbor. That was as for a cause because I felt like there was a lot going on with the missing young ladies. Yeah, man, it's just so horrible. And I kept thinking what I would feel like it was my child. So, and I hate to wait till it be me to go want to do something.
Right.
So from that, I went and did. I wrote a couple of things for some other folks. Didn't come out, but I kept on my grind. But I was also in the union as an electrician. So I was in the union for 2 years. Only had 3 jobs. But because I was on those jobs, I met more people and I worked for more shows.
Now, when you talk about the union, people are normally thinking just the union where you go and travel with jobs, but the union, the acting, the entertainment industry actually has its own union. So, how do you go about becoming a part of the union? Because that's really, really hard to actually get accepted into that union platform.
And see, that's the thing about it. It's only reason it's hard is because people make it hard.
Mm-hmm.
But like the 479, which is a stagehands union, the IATSE, I was in there, and what they do is they encompass your grips, your electricians, your medics, your camera people. No, not cameras. That's another union. Your aid, the assistants to do the cameras. They do everything. All of those stuff. The food, the craft services.
Mm-hmm.
So they're a union, but the thing about it is they're not a union that gets you jobs.
Mm-hmm.
They're a union that protects your rights and make sure you get paid and make sure everything's okay. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, that's why the hard lesson I learned. I was like, I'm gonna sit all the time. Nobody's hiring me to be an electrician, but I'm busy doing everything else, which I wanted to do. So it was like I couldn't complain. But the key to it is you have to know someone, and they give you these references, and then they're only going to sign you in as a reference if they trust you. And that was the hardest part, because if you didn't grow up with someone here, you knew from town like I am, you have to find those people.
Right.
So and even with the directors, with the shows I've done lately, I've been getting the nudge from people that I need to join the directors union because I'm doing too much directing, and I understand it, but that's a fee too.
Right.
You had to pay to be in that, and if you ain't working, you just paying. That's why I felt about the union. I'm just paying dues to say I'm part of it. So the key to it is to find out what the foundation is, how to get in there, take the necessary steps, but be a sponge and absorb everything you see, everything that happens. I did the Trumpet Awards. I was supposed to be picking people up in the car, but every time I got out, I come back inside. I'm standing backstage with the cameras in, and they talk. They even said, "I thought you weren't back here." I was back there so much.
Oh goodness!
And I was like, "Why y'all doing that? What's up?" And they was explaining. So my thing was, I didn't want to be a nuisance, but I wanted to learn, and I knew that to have a production company like Tyler and anyone else, I would have to know the foundation of what goes on, and at least how to what's involved in those jobs. So how can I tell you just grab a mic and go over there? And you're gonna say, well, to do what? I don't know. You get the mic, figure it out. Can't do that. I did that my first show, Risky Southern Law. Flavor Flav's brother gave me some equipment, told me I could borrow it. I filmed the show in 5 weekends, 5 episodes. But to everybody I hired, there was anybody that wanted to work. So I had to teach them how to do the mic, teach them how to do the camera. And I was acting in it. That's why I say never do everything again. Not me. I burned myself up.
Right.
But it showed everyone I could do it. So,
okay.
Completing the project is key here. If you can finish, it stands for a lot. Because there's so many snakes out here.
Right. Right.
There's so many snakes out here. But yeah, to get back to the point, straight away. See, don't let me run.
It's all good. We're listening. It's interesting.
The key to it, though, like I said, once I got the foundation together, I had to, like Jay-Z said, get a blueprint. Because even though there's a foundation that people normally follow to get this stuff done, everything's not written in stone. I'm one of the people, I deal with it as it comes. I throw myself in fires. I regret it sometimes, but I feel like if I don't test myself, I'll never know where I can go.
Right.
So I'll accept jobs and go, I don't know what that's supposed to do, and go home and YouTube it. I've done that a few times. YouTube it, get the information, research it some, and show up that day and work my way through it.
Wow.
Because if I don't, nobody's just going to say, hey, Charles, I like you. Come on here, let me hire you for a director. No, I'm going to have to find out, like I say, eat at my own table. So after I took Vivica Fox hit it first. She's like, they won't hire me for roles, I'll make my roles. So then right after that, Tyler did it. And I was like, you know what, this can be done. And that's what I've been doing. So I've been making sure that I write, because you have to have product in order to sell anything. So it means you have to write a product, because a lot of folks don't write. And that's what keeps me occupied now, because nobody likes writing, nobody likes reading, nobody likes making scripts. I was like, I'm not overjoyed with it, but I like it because it lets me put my thoughts on paper, and it turns into something. Right. So it's cool for me, and that's the key. If you don't have a product, you can't sell anything. So if you're your product, you have to figure out how you're going to brand yourself. What is the way you want people to notice you and to remember you for? And I know talent counts for a lot in this business, but the one thing that counts the most is consistency and dedication. If you can put your time in and stick tight, nothing you can't do.
That is so true. They say that all the time. Be consistent. Be consistent, because if you don't, then what's the point of, you know?
And then you can't take everything, because some stuff's not made for you.
Right.
You know, you have to determine that. Like, man, I like to do that, but that don't fit with my brand. It's not gonna do nothing for me, so I'm just gonna let that go. Because I spent lots of months not working. That's why I write so much, because I don't want to do just anything. I don't want my name just on anything, because
right.
people remember that.
Right.
And all it takes is one mess up for everybody, and that's your whole day.
Right.
You know, remember when he did this and he did that. I try to make sure I'm along with my actors. I try to give them a sense of a home so they can create. Because even though I wrote the characters, I want them to get their shine out. And I always tell them, these is the basis. This is not the Bible. This is just a basis of what I want. I want you to develop it. You bring it together. Show me what you got. That's how I want you to develop for you, because that's what you do. And then I'll make sure we get the footage we need. I'll make sure we get all the shots. I'll make sure I keep the schedules. But I've learned now that to be consistent and to be of quality, people respect. And this year turned that out, kind of threw it my way this year, because through the other projects, they got finished and I put them in, but people saw what I had to go through to get it done. And now folks are hiring me to do the job.
So do you think that it is important for like being picky about what roles you take? And when I say picky, I mean like for like as the momager, I'm real careful about the roles that I submit her for, or the roles that come through her backstage and actors access accounts and things like that. Like I'm very strategic about what we apply for, what we submit for, because I feel like at the beginning, whatever role you take and play, that's how people are gonna see you. Like let's take Whoopi Goldberg. She's always gonna be silly to some people off of Color Purple because that role stood out. And so you got Oprah. She's always gonna be, you know, Miss Sophia, you know, and it's like I think about that when I think about the roles, and like we have one project that's calling her back on backstage right now. But when I went to read the scripts and everything on the resubmission that they want us to do, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about those lines. I don't know how I feel about the storyline that's playing out. So it's like not trying to be too picky, because I know you have to start somewhere, but it's just like whatever the reputation you set, I think it follows you in this industry. You know,
because when I wanted to go, actually I wanted to do some PAing, and the people told me, you do background. I'm like, so? I mean, I need a check. I'm not trying to, you know, be a pain. I just want to keep working. I have to survive and pay bills. And they were like, well, if you want to be a PA, you need to stop doing background. I'm like, why? So I kept doing it until I finally said, all right. And I had to work for somebody for like 3 months, no pay.
Whew.
Every
That's
day.
like volunteer time.
It was. And then they told me in the last end of it, we're gonna pay you for one of the months because you stood tall, you didn't complain.
Wow.
I did. I was like, man, I ain't got gas money. I got to think, hey, I called my brother, hey, can I borrow $20 to get some gas? And he was like, all right.
It's rough. People think that just because you're out here and you're doing things and you're working on these platforms that you're making money. A lot of it is really you're putting stuff in and you're not pulling anything out yet because you're waiting for that one big one big shot. So
that's it. You know, and then the pickiness is not a bad thing, because like, see, sometimes you got to eat. I didn't want a PA because I felt in the beginning I felt like I ain't no PA, because I hate getting lunches. I hate people ordering me around with dumb stuff, and I've had a lot of directors do that. And I'm like, he's the director. He didn't even know what he's doing, but it's the job. So once I stopped PAing, they kept telling me when they saw me do some coordinating work, got the union, the guy was like, you know, you need to stop coming in as a PA if you're going to try to be coordinating stuff on the films. I was like, I gotta keep taking these breaks just so everybody don't. He said, well, that's how they're gonna see you. And I was like, you know what, I'm doing my own thing. And that's what a day on was it Living Single. They hired me for a 5-day stretch to do an engagement thing. Yeah, and I was like, yeah, this time we're gonna be working long hours. Like, overtime? Yes, I thought I was ready. Got there. The first day was 16 hours, almost 17. My feet was hurting because the tuxedo shoes weren't big enough. I should have got them bigger. Didn't know I was gonna be standing on that long. And then when the day ended, they told us, you got to be here every day. We didn't hire y'all for nothing. I'm on my way back to Lawrenceville from downtown Atlanta, and I get a text. And I'm like, whoa. And it's from the show. I'm like, oh, it must be the new call time. We do not further desire your services. We have decided to trim down on the background. So thank you for coming. I'm like, and I turned down 2 jobs to do that job. I was so hot. So I went home. I couldn't even sleep. I was pissed. I went, man, I've done 2 jobs I could have worked, and to do this, and because I thought I liked the show, I was like, man, I could do this. So that night, I was looking at a picture we took in the Holden of me and these 3 guys, and so everybody could say, man, y'all look like I could do a lawyer show. And I just kept thinking about that, and I started writing, and that's how I wrote Risky Southern Law.
Gotcha.
I wrote the short film out in a night. And I was like, short film ain't gonna do. I tried to write into a movie, but it just wasn't fitting right. Then I turned it into 5 episodes of a TV show.
That's awesome.
Because I was mad.
When did you officially start writing? Like your first show?
When I had my cable access show called That's What's Up. Man, every time I think of the name cracks me up. That's What's Up in Virginia. I had was bringing people in, and because just like you go on the set, everybody doesn't really is how you say this. Is not as in depth in their job as they should be. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you have to know where you need to be. So when I was in Virginia, I would hire people to come on as hostesses and do stuff, but I had to direct them so much. It's like, man, you know what? I need to write stuff for them, so that way they don't always be done. And this German lady, actually interned with me, and she showed me how to format, because she did a 24-hour news show, and showed me how to format it. And from that day on, I watched her, I learned how to do it, and I started writing for them so they could have lines. But they would be like, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, gee whiz, cut! So it's like, I felt that if I gave them some stuff, they could work better. And they did. So then I started doing the poster boards, because some folks just couldn't remember lines. And I know how it is. I get nervous. I can't remember. I wrote the show one day and knew everybody's lines were mine. It's like, but I got the poster boards. And because I heard Marlon Brando did that in Godfather. He couldn't remember his lines, so they put a poster board on the floor. That's why he walked down like this all the time.
Oh, wow.
The script was on the floor.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so you do what's necessary.
So I'm an educator. I work in the high school, and I see a lot of kids that their senior year, they still don't have a good direction on what they want out of life, where they're headed. And I know that you deal right now mostly in entertainment, but that I feel like the process is the same. The finding your way has been the same for you. So when it comes down to young people not really knowing what exactly they want to do and be in life, I think that that's something that we have to try to address as adults, to let them know, listen, you may be here now, but if you would just follow your heart and follow your desires, it'll point you in the right direction. Like, I think everybody is born with that natural thing that's meant to make that platform, to make their way in life, to make things suffice for them and their families. So like, she was always my little singer. She would, as a baby, she didn't cry. She would literally hum herself to sleep. And when she was about 3 years old, people asked her, what's your name? She said, my name's Jossie Joseph. I'll be on Disney Channel. Listen, it wasn't Jocelyn Joseph. It was, my name Jossie Joseph. I'll be on Disney Channel. And so she was, her whole slate. She was slating herself at 3 years old. We didn't even know what slating was. That's
I don't know where to put you in auditions for.
I mean, parents, I think sometimes we overlook those things because we want our kids to be this. We want our kids to be that. We want them to go to college. We want them to do this and that. And I'm not knocking college or trade school or anything like that, because we're living in a society where you have to have some sort of secondary education. So what would be your motivational piece for a young brother or a young sister that's out there that's just confused? They getting ready to graduate and don't know
what to do,
where they headed after this. Then I'm gonna figure it out. It's
funny you should ask that. I've mentored since the Million Man March. I went to Million Man March, and I know it's supposed to sound corny, but it affected me about how black men were stepping up and our kids. And I had friends whose sons are just and I'm looking around, and then their kids will always come see my kids. She said, "Why everybody come over here? They got a daddy," because I was always trying to help them out. Yeah, but it affected me a lot. So even here, to this very day, I work. I'm staff at a transition home for young men from 17 to 24, and as they come out of jail, come out of homeless, come out of foster care, and I've been there for two and a half years now. The thing about it is, well, that also lends to why I said, oh, I did the abduction, because I feel like I can't be in a community and don't participate. I have to contribute. What am I here for if I'm not helping some other folks do something? And I don't have to be rich to give my time or to, my energy to help somebody do something. So with these guys, they come out of jail 17, 18, been in there 3 years, 2 years. Wow. Yeah, and I'm like, wow. And the only thing they go is, well, I ain't gonna be here long. I'm gonna die at 25. And I was like, who keeps? And they all say, I'm like, who tells you that? Wow. Where they come from? Yeah. But then I watched where they come from, the roots, because everybody ain't got you for a mom.
Right.
Everybody got me for a dad. My son got into music and stuff because I told him at that young age, tell me what you want to do. What is it you love?
And you cultivated it.
Yep. And I told him, but this is my rule. You get in it, you're going to finish it. I don't care if you hate it, don't want to do it no more. You're going to finish it. Yeah. And then we'll do something else. Okay. But for this time, you in this, and let's work with it. So everything he did, I always backed him. Whatever it was, I put him for a TV internship through the school. He hated it. Oh, what is that with a rap? I was like, this will help your background, bro. And now to this day, he's out in LA producing stuff, and he's a engineer. He went to school for soundboard engineering.
So now look at that.
Yeah, and that's what I say. Nobody has us for parents. My wife hates you. My ex-wife, she hated that. He need to find a job. He need benefits. I was like, well, he need to find him. Right. Because nobody wants to be somewhere they hate for 20-some years. Right. And I know that feeling. I did it for 26. And I literally cried in my car on mornings the last 4 or 5 years because I hated it that bad. Wow. I was like, I really don't want to go here no more. Wow. And I had to figure out, what do I do? And I understand young folks need to find their way, but right now they need to find out how to have them, how to understand themselves. Because right now they have no sense of purpose, no sense of who I am. Right. And like I tell a lot of folks, it took me till I was in my 40s to realize this is what I want to do.
But it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't have to be that way. But it's hard because you bounce around and life experiences. And that's the one thing I said about me. When I did it, I started hearing all the stories about Harrison Ford got his at 50, Morgan Freeman was at something. And I was like, yeah. But then I realized I wouldn't have been able to write or to do the stuff I did if it wasn't for the journey I took. Right. I was in the military. I traveled around the world. I worked at a company, a Fortune 500 company, in the corporate side of it, learning how these things work. That's why I knew I could do this, because once I learned logistics and the budgeting and putting things together, I was like, man, I can do a TV show. It's a business. You just got to have your understanding of things have to be done, the schedules to be met. And so I would tell a lot of young folks, don't pressure yourself, because that hurts them. And I always tell them, it reaches back to their foundation, their parents. I blame my generation and one before it that didn't really stand tall on them because they let them loose, thinking, well, I'll be their friend, or I don't want to pressure him. Don't pressure him. My son, he hated it when I put him in school.
That's you. Yeah, it's like, stay on, yeah.
But you know what's going to be funny? You're going to be older, and you and your mom going to sit there and go bust up laughing. You're going to say, man, I'm so glad you did. But my son did that. He said, Pop, because of you, I'm doing what I'm doing. He said, and I owe that to you every day because I watched you cut tapes and tape them together. And he said, I'm still to this day wondering, how did he learn that? Right. I just knew I had to figure a way. And like you say, once you find that passion, that's the key, finding that passion. Once you see what it is, just be around it. I tell people, if you want to be a singer and they hire for janitors, be a janitor at the record company, because sooner or later, somebody's going to see you or you're going to meet somebody and it's going to work. But you just have to be around it. Right. And I tell them about the film industry. That makes sense. The film industry isn't just acting. Isn't just directing and writing. There are electricians, there's carpenters, there's photographers, there's hairdressers. Right. It's a working organization. So there's always room to find you a place in there until you get there. So I stayed in electrical and stuff till I found my niche. And once I found it, and like I said, COVID may have been bad for some people, but it reset me. And I took advantage of them 5 months. I cleaned up my scripts. I got together, looked at my branding, hooked up with my partners, and got with them, figured out what our talents, how we can mesh together, make this thing happen, and things just start clicking.
Now, the COVID really has been a blessing in a way because it opened up this whole virtual platform where
that's the other part.
People you couldn't work with between Georgia and Los Angeles or Georgia, New York, Georgia, and like you can now do everything virtually and still land that job because everything now they're just piecing it together and learning how to make it work. And so like with Jocelyn,
like when he said like connection and stuff, you know how like we did the competition with my little group that I was going on. Then all of a sudden the judge, they were just like, girl, you go by yourself. I don't even know why you even have a group. And all of a sudden, Mom, she's following AGI, trying to get me an audition. And she comes to me one day, she's like, Jocelyn, I have a surprise for you. I was just like, what is it? She said, I got you an audition for AGI.
There you go.
And I looked up what AGI was, and I was like, oh, this is a singing, acting, and performance boot camp, like an industry boot camp. and there are VIPs that come
It's
in.
a performing arts school. Too.
Yeah, it's dope, and like I got the audition. She was like, "Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna be in the show."
Yeah.
I was just like, and I'm meeting people that I never thought I would meet. I never thought I would meet Brandon J from off of Let It Shine. I never thought I would meet Miss Alexis from off of Tyler Perry for a while. I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like I said, nobody's got a mom like you got. Well, not everybody.
Right.
But the good thing about it, she saw what needed to be done. She nurtured it, and the fact that you love it. That like I told my son when he's mad about working cameras, you're gonna be mad at me now, but later on, you're gonna say, "Wow."
And look what he's doing now.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And like I said, even for me, I had to go through traveling around the world, living in different cities, just different things. I was in the SEALs in the Navy toward the end of my naval stuff. And I realized that in commitment and in a group, you got strength.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much power in unity. And that's why I'm so open to having new people, working with other people. I call them chicken wings. I don't be like, you can't get out of here. No, I love pulling in with people. That's why when I first met you, I was like, look, we're going to do something. And if you ask anybody to work with me, they'll tell you this. He'll say he's going to work with you, and it'll take 2 years, and then he'll work with you. I don't know why that happens, but it is. It's like 2 years, I'm with him. But I make sure I keep my word, and I make sure I get quality product, because I want to build them as much as I want to build myself. And I think that if we work together, I can tell my crew, I don't have to be with you every day. I can work with some other people, but let's just hold our foundation. Remember where our home is.
Yeah.
We still branch out and do other things, and that keeps us fresh. We learn more. We get a little more seasoned, and that's the key to it. Because even with me, I had to go. What's that? 5 Heartbeats. They say Duck will never be a good writer until he has heartbreak. Well, I got a heartbreak that made a hell of a writer out of me.
Oh goodness!
And that those things have to happen for you to have your nuances. And that's why I say with young folks, don't pressure themselves, but you do have to look around. Tell them guys at the house, they sit on their phone all day. One dude looks at anime. I said, so you know how to speak Japanese? Go, nope. I said, but you watch that every day, and you can't speak a word of Japanese? What sense does that make?
And you boosting somebody else's viewings instead of making your own.
I tell them to constantly, you see, the thing about a lot of them didn't realize what I did. They thought, if I'm there, I'm a broke down guy, I just need some help or somewhere to go and help show the kids what to do. But after a while, they got to know me, and then they start seeing me on the internet and go, oh, you actually, or somebody call and say, the people were bringing food in one day, and the lady goes, I said, I knew you. I was like, huh? And she was scaring me. So I told you, I knew you.
Oh,
Did I tell you I know her? I'm going, oh, she goes, I saw you last night on the show with Loretta Devine and Charles Dutton. I said, yeah, that was me. She goes, I told you that was you. And I'm looking, and the guy's looking at me and say, Mr. Charles, what's wrong? I said, nothing. She saw me on TV and said, you really do it? And Susie said, you really do that? I'm like, so I've been telling you this for over a year. You just not going, I really do that. Yes, that's what I do.
Yeah.
But everybody don't ride around in limos and live in big houses.
Yeah. Right. They can also draw attention to like 2 years old.
And that's it. And like I tell them, take the time that you have and you like search things. Nobody's covering your boundaries. And like I say, the COVID helped with the platforms. Now everybody wants content. Everybody wants content. So if we can actually get into creating more, because as a night you never created too much. There's so many people want it. The Golf Channel even reached out. I'm like, and I got a show for them. Wow. I just haven't finished cleaning up. But there's places to put your stuff, and all you have to do is show that you're willing to work. You're not a diva, because a lot of folks be, I will never do that. That's not me, and I'm not gonna. And I'm like, oh, well, let's talk. Let's see if we can figure it out. Because I really want to do something, and if we do the right thing, all of us will be happy. So all that stress on them young cats, they just have to chill and get a focus. 2 of my guys left out about 15. They actually done something really good with themselves, and now the other ones are looking back, going, I should have. Tell them, once you leave our establishment, you can't come back, because most of you leave the wrong way. If you leave like you got some sense, you can come back. But you leave, don't tell me what to do. I'd rather be in jail. All right, I don't know why jail's so much better than this, but if that's how you feel. But I think that if they just take the time and utilize their time wisely, they'll figure it out. But they don't have me or you in there. And that's why I do what I do. So if somebody's reaching out to them, I tell them constantly, do for you. Make sure you find something.
All right, guys, listen, we're going to take a brief break. I was trying to get her attention so she could do this part.
But anywho, we're going to take a break, and then we will be back with more. Teenz Talk episode. And yeah, any questions?
Yeah. I'd like to know. So when you approach your characters, how do you dissect your characters? How do you break down what direction you want to pick?
She helps me. What I do, I read it, and if there's something, you know, I have questions about, I ask the question. Like I said, she helps. She's just like, make sure you ask questions, da 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 da. And I ask the questions, and then they give me, you know, a clearer meaning of my character and what the person is about. And I write down things that, you know, that the character says or does, or their actions, or that's kind of what.
Did you research any similar type characters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, because I'm wondering, when you at your age, and the way you view things is different than a lot of older folks. So when you look at something, do you basically get a feel for it from just the visuals of it, where it's almost like judging a book by its cover, or do you try to figure out what the inner part of that person is? Like, you know, if they're really sad, or they're into a type of self-destructive behavior, because those are really deep roles to play. You know, most folks when they audition, they do the sad stuff. I hate that. If you ever come back again, I'm like, do some upbeat. Show me how you can be happy, something else, because everybody does the crying scene.
Right.
Show me that, and that's the one thing when I cast. I ask you to take the character I just gave you and do it 3 different ways. That's how I know I can work with you. That means when we're working and it's not working, I say I need you to change it, and you can change it. But if you can't change it, we stuck. Can you change it? Have you had a chance to incorporate your singing yet?
Yes. We went to the studio, Mr. Brandon. I did a cover to Diamonds.
Oh, okay.
And then I think I went with like 5 other girls, and then we did like different covers. We did an Ariana Grande song, No Tears Left to Cry, and then we did a Beyonce song, and that was really cool.
So what do you think about the videos and the shows that are geared towards your generation right now?
What do I think about it? Some of them can have a negative effect, to be honest, if I'm being really honest. Some of them can have a negative effect to my generation because we watch it so much, and they have a lot of profanity. I'm just like, watch your profanity, you know, like, don't do all that cussing and stuff. My mom, she does not allow that. Hallelujah. She raised her kids right. I'm just like, but not all of it's bad. You know, some films can teach us a lesson in life about, you know, to stay committed or to follow your dream, you know, different things like that.
She had actually landed a role in a play that when she ended up quitting, and I didn't realize that they wanted her to do some profanity.
Like
you want to tell them about that part?
I forgot what the play was called. I was really excited about it. I got the audition. They gave me, the lady, you know, she gave me a cold read. She said, can you do a cold read for me? I was like, yes, ma'am. So I grabbed the paper. She was like, you killed that cold read. She was like, we want you to come back next week. Da, 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 da. You know, we were working. I played one of the R5, which were, you know, Rebel 5. And what happened was we were running through a song, and there was the A word in there. There was the B word. I was just like, oh, no. And I didn't say it. She was like, oh, then she stopped. She was like, guys, cut. She said, do you think you can say the A and B word for me? I said, no, ma'am, I cannot. She was like, why? I said, because my mom wouldn't allow it. She was like, well...
But it's not just me, though. Is that something that you want people to start using you as? It's like, once you start portraying yourself away a certain way, that's what the world is going to want to pull from you.
She was like, but we really need you to say this. I'm like, I'm not saying this. She was like, well, you probably won't get the job. I said, listen, I know. And I went back out to the car. It was the end of rehearsal. And my mom, she was like, what's wrong with you? I was just like, they want me to cuss in the song. She was like, oh, no. I was so glad, because I was like, if I was on stage and if I would have said those words, she would have been looking at me like, I know you did not just cuss.
Yeah.
So I quit.
You know, there's a really strong drug culture in the young ages now. They glamorize taking Molly and drinking cough syrup and
I've noticed that.
All that, and I don't get it. I thought, I didn't even say when I said I don't get it, I make myself sound old, but I don't get it. I don't understand what that's about. And they seem to think that it's the norm. You know, and I see so many, how do you call it, mental issues for a lot of kids. So do you have a hard time interacting with a lot of your peers?
If I'm honest, when I used to do, real school, I'm virtual for the whole year right now. Mom would tell you, I had like only 3 to 2 friends at school. And I didn't even go out, like when it's breakfast time, when they would have, people go out in the cafeteria. Mm-hmm. She would tell you, I did not go out. I didn't. I stayed in the room to myself. I don't have a lot of friends.
I'm like, Johnson, go socialize. She's like, I'm good.
I'm good. I stayed right in the room. And, I would just hang out with them every chance that I got, but I didn't hang out with them at breakfast. I was just like, I'm not going to go out there right now. Mm-hmm. I don't really have a lot of friends at school.
I think it's kind of tough for her, not because, I know she keeps referring back to me and her dad or whatever, but Jocelyn is very picky on her own. I don't know why she's trying to lay all the blame on me. She is very, very conservative when it comes to a lot of things. She doesn't really carry herself like a lot of the young ladies. She makes sure she's covered her body. She's just very, her personality, she's a little old lady stuck inside of a young lady's body. And so when she said she has maybe 3 solid friends that she associate with, and they have the same little personality.
No, now 2.
They're very conservative young ladies. They're smart. They're intelligent. They're respectful. You're not going to hear either of them cussing. They make good grades in school. So it's like, that's her little niche. That's her little people, and that's who she is. And so
when you said, an old lady trapped in a 16-year-old, there was, because I cover up I don't like to show anything. Even Mama, she was like, wear a dress, might have like my back. I'm just like, I don't want to wear that. It feels weird. There was this one time I was wearing, like a dress, and I had on some tights underneath it. And there was this one girl, she was like, Miss Joseph, your daughter's starting to gain weight, and she's starting to look good in her shape. My mom, she was like, she's always been good looking in her shape. She just doesn't like to show her body like that. I was just like, that's so true. I don't like to show, no, I'm not about showing everything.
And that you, at your age, those shouldn't be an issue for you.
Right.
Those are industry stuff. But like I always tell people, there's ways to get around things that they don't have to be so broad. Right. Now, I can't lie. I have a mouth on me because I'm an ex-Navy and I was raised on the south side of Chicago, so I know some things. But I still don't like making other people uncomfortable. Right. So I deal with where I go. I always tell folks, you need to be a chameleon wherever you go. Mm-hmm. So when I'm around people that I know got a lot of bad issues or whatever, I'm all right. I mean, you do what you do. And I don't have to do what you do. And I don't have to be a part of anything that goes on with that. But if I have to be here because of this business or whatever, let's just take care of business. I can roll. One thing I've never been is a follower. I just never been that way. I couldn't even join the fraternities or nothing because I just don't like people telling me I can't do something because they don't do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not cheap. I'm a person.
Right.
And the one thing I think I admire about your situation is that you have a great mom, but that you understand what your talent is. And see, when you know your worth, you can perform at your worth. And people will notice that. Because like I said, when people say negative things,
I'm just like my dad says, let it roll off
that's
your
it.
back like water on a duck's back.
Because people always got a question. I watched was it MTV? And you see, if you watch MTV on those shows, the camera moves a lot. So I showed somebody my first show. And he goes, man, the camera moves a lot. I said, you don't say that when MTV and everybody else do it. Why you got to do it when it's my stuff? I'm just saying, man, you can do the light. And then so we watch somebody else, and I'm like, that stuff ain't better than that. But they critique me because they know me. And I'm like, but you'll accept anything from them.
Right.
So, but I started learning myself, forget it. I showed the guy one of my shows, people was cracking up. And he looked at it and he was like, this the whole time. And then when it finished, he goes, that's pretty funny. I'm like, you ain't smile one time? He goes, yeah, if you into that stuff.
That's how like the VIPs are. They will sit there, their faces are completely straight. But in their mind, it's like, this kid is crazy. This kid is like...
I do that too. I do that because I don't want you to judge what you're doing by me. I even do the puppy thing. I see you. Go ahead. And they're like, you don't see me. I see you.
But in your mind, you're just like, what in the world? Where did you come from?
No, actually, sometimes I do it because I want to see if you get rattled. Because there are things that happen within the workday that you got to be a snap back from. And you got to, as an actress, you're going to always have to be in control of how you bring your character forward. So almost like Denzel Washington. He does the Stravinsky method, whereas he has to encompass himself in that. He can't even be around his family the whole month he's filming, and you got to call him by that character the whole time he's there. He don't break character. It's the whole time he's that character because he believes he has to live and breathe that person. So the other people believe, I forget the name of the system, but it's you do it in the moment. That's hard. Now if I tell you, and cry, you go cry. You can't just. Well, at least I can't just jump up and cry.
I can't.
And I had to get a few thoughts there and then get it, and then you're like, okay. But there are certain times that you're going to come out of character. The key is to show that you are in control of what you have, your emotions, your talent, and I already know you're confident, so that's good. But the key is when you get all that together and you know your worth, don't let nobody say nothing about what you got. Like, okay. Because I had a lady, I was going through my emotional stage when me and my girlfriend broke up. And I told the lady to take over these next 2 scenes. She rewrote my whole script. So I'm so sad moment, come back on set. I go, where'd that come from? She goes, oh, I changed. I said, change what? She goes, oh, I rewrote it. I said, who told you to rewrite it? She goes, well, you were busy crying in your cup. And I was out here with them. I was like, all you had to do was do what I gave you. Just give me the script. And I was like, you know what? Time to put on my big boy pants. I can't sit here and cry about this woman I thought I was in love with. I need to get my show done. And I had to go back in and rewrite my whole script because she had changed the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing. And I was like, wow. And that's why I say sometimes, now she may have came in and said, do you do it this way? Now I'm back. And I'm going to say, do it this way. And you were like, well, Lord have mercy. I'm jumping around here from place. You got to be able to pull yourself into that moment as need be. And, hey, do what you have to do. Rock that thing. A lot of folks look at their acting as what is it, like a living tool. Like I said, with Denzel, once you put it in, it's in you. I did an abuse role on Fatal Attraction. This is the week after I broke up with my girlfriend.
Oh no!
Yeah. And the director, and this is no joke. I go downstairs. We were up in the dressing room, in the dressing area, getting makeup done, and they were downstairs. We're in the house. So I'm supposed to beat up my girlfriend, chase her son, try to kill him. So he goes, I come downstairs to get my bag, and I heard the director around the corner like it. He goes, yeah, that guy Charles, he's a nice guy. I just don't think he's going to be able to bring what we need today. It's going to be tough. And I'm like, I heard that. I went, no, you didn't just say that about me. So I go up there in the makeup, and my co-star goes, you all right? I'm like, I think to myself, oh, he want to know what, he want to know if I can bring it. And I'm thinking, I just broke up with my girlfriend a week ago. I get angry at me. So when he got ready to do it, he says, all right, Charles. And decided to say, okay, Charles, give it what you can, and let's go ahead and roll it. I'm like, the way he said it was so demeaning. I was like,
right.
Hey, really? So we went through it, and when he did the first take, he goes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I want. And so my co-star says, you can rough me up if you want. Should have said that, because now I'm be screaming and hollering. So I did the next go. He goes, yeah. And then she looks at me after the second take. She goes, you're scaring me. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, he said I couldn't do this role, so I'm bringing up all that. She said, you're doing a good job. And then the guy who's supposed to play her son, he goes, yeah, you're scaring me too, because you chased me down the hallway. I thought I was supposed to take something. Come here, I'm going to kill you too.
Oh, God.
I just knew that it had to come from somewhere. But by him saying that he didn't think I could bring it, just fired me up more. Yeah, here we go, dog. And even my mom goes, I hate watching that episode. Because you're not like that. I was like, I know, Mom. It's a TV show.
When someone tells you you can't, when someone tells you can't do, you're just like, oh, okay, I got you. And then all of a sudden it's just like,
That's it. Flex
you
and
dig
go on.
deep and you find something even greater.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, to me, like, when we did acceptance, I didn't think I was going to be able to kill my mom. I was just like, you want me to kill my mom? You want me to kill mom? I was like, okay. But then when we were doing the scene and, she was getting all mad and everything, that hyped me up. I was just like, okay. Odette is because she was playing Odette at that time because her personalities would switch.
Okay.
So she would just be like, at 1 minute she's just like, oh, I love you, da 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 da. The next minute she's slamming something in my face, throwing me on the floor. And there's this one scene, I was eating an apple. She comes up behind me, slams the cabinet door shut because I got a cup out of there. And she was like, you think your daddy's going to come back? Da 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 da. I was like, he didn't leave because of me, he left because of you. And then she pins me on the floor, and she's on top of me, and I'm just like, get off me, and I choke her, and I was
oh, man, that was deep.
Yeah,
that was deep.
Yeah.
Every day, that, see, like I said, able to pull that out when you need it is a good tool. And I think that, well, just a little hint, my show that I'm writing now with my partner called GMA, it's like a fame / what's the other one, Glee type show. But it's with some kids in a little academy, which is the Georgia Media, which is actually what it does. It teaches acting, writing, production, all that stuff. So yeah, so what we did was we said in order to hype up her business, because my partner's bad, she's something else. But 2 master's degrees in the entertainment, script writing, and all. She got her own business. She's the one pushing me.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's one because she can say you keep letting money go by. I'm like, I just don't feel like I'm getting tired of hustling so much. But it's thanks to her, she's pushing me out there to do more, and things are rolling. But that script itself, with us writing it, we have characters, and that's one of the ones I want you to pop in on.
Hey, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I said, we 3 scripts in. We still got 5 more. We finish up, and we hope to be doing everything by mid-February, reaching out, getting schedules.
Okay.
Just keep us
I told you I was gonna get you. I told you I was gonna get you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's it. I don't have any more questions.
Well,
Thank
I
you for
enjoyed it.
being here.
Thank you.
Being a part
I
of
am so
Teenz
humbled.
Talk. Yeah.
Well, we will see you guys on the next episode. Stay tuned and have a happy new year.
Yes.
Peace.
Despite the unlevel playing field, as a female, we cannot